was sitting there. That's the only thing for me about flying is, I ain't flown in a while. I think, shoot, I'm trying to think. Where was the last place I flew?
That's what I was saying to myself.
I think mine was New Orleans.
Yeah, okay, for the band.
Nah, it was actually my Uncle Larry. Me and Kenny went to New Orleans, I think 2020. Yeah.
I felt short of his glory, I sinned a couple times. I done some things and said some things and none of them were kind. But even in my wrongdoing, his love was divine. So I'ma praise him, give him glory every time. That's how the church should be. Instead you shun folks who don't fit the design. Instead of giving wisdom and taking a piece of your time. Instead you wasted giving judgment, it's to lift up your pride. But you got Jesus inside, no.
That was probably, well, because we've been married 10 years, going on 11 in October. So that had been like maybe 9 years ago, something like that. Because I think it was like the year that we got married. I think that was like the first gift. If it wasn't 9, it was like 8. And
yeah, because I think he retired in 16.
So he retired in 16.
Yeah,
Right.
it definitely was 16.
It was 16.
Oh,
Yeah, so it was 5th. So yeah, so if he retired in 16, then they sent us out there in 16.
I hear you banging through your stereo. I speak the truth, but you don't listen, though. Yeah. ACM Taco.
Yeah, these days it's real. I hear you don't know where you're going next. Too many saints still playing church, you just going for checks. I know with God had on my side, I have nothing to fear. He'll make a way out of no way, no buts or questions. I never judge because I know where Jesus brought me from. How could I judge with all the sin and wrongdoing I've done? But if I'ma give him praise, I gotta be myself. I give him glory, tell my story, he's my present. I felt short of his glory, I sinned a couple times. I done some things and said some things and none of them were kind. But even in my wrongdoing, his love was divine. So I'ma praise him, give him glory every time. That's how the church should be. Instead you shun folks who don't fit the design. Instead of giving wisdom and taking the piece of
We out here, we made it. We're in Atlanta with it. I think it's like 7 o'clock, maybe 7:10. About to go to baggage claim for Bishop one time. You know what I'm saying? We out here. Hopefully we can get us a hash brown or two. A little orange juice. So we locked in. We gonna keep y'all going, watch. My mama though. Yeah, left me out here. You know what I'm saying? And at this point, waiting on Bishop bag or whatever, I kind of get on the escalator though. I'm on the little train joint, kind of dolo. I turn around, it was gone. We out here. We made it in the city. We with the special guest, the Bishop. You know what I'm saying? We out here. You know. You already know. I got something planned. Don't even worry about it.
What brought you down here from Zambia?
Nothing. I'm just an adventurous person.
Okay.
I had a friend living out here, so
Okay.
check it out.
So I guess
I fell in love with it, man. I stayed.
That's what I was about to say. You must have really liked it if you've been here 24 years.
Yeah, graphic. So, you know, she can switch to anything and still make it.
They still go for it.
Yeah.
The only one Queen Bee.
Only one Queen Bee.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all my Kings folks. Y'all know where we at. This is when we came down here and shut the city down.
Appreciate that, sir.
They got in the car before I could even greet you. They said hi. You know, that's not a commonality in this business. People just
Get in.
don't care. Yeah, they just act like, yeah, you just take me where I'm going. You know?
Then the ride be 25, 30 minutes. It don't even be up the street.
Yeah, just on the phone. Yeah. And then when somebody does something stupid on the road and then you hit the emergency brake, they think you're not a good driver.
Yeah.
Because they're on the phone, they don't know what's going on. You know? Yeah. And then after that, they report you. Oh, he was robbed. Like when? Where? And then you remember, oh, that guy cut from me and I stopped emergency. They don't see that. So people don't care about what you do.
Yeah, Target with it. You know what I'm saying? Getting a couple things. You gotta get a couple personals. You know what I'm saying? We out here. About to see what we come up with. We at Target with it and picked up a couple things.
We definitely got a couple items.
You know what I'm saying? A couple things.
Good
Not too
snack.
crazy. Not too crazy. Little toiletries.
In order
You know what I'm saying?
to live, you must snack.
I thought you was gonna say you must wash.
I mean, you also must wash. Get in your crevices.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So we waited 7 minutes.
If you smell something
On the
funny,
left.
it's you. It's starting to get hot.
It might be
outside.
you, because it's hot.
So now I lift my voice, with God I real rejoice, we take the time to reverence you.
Oh yeah, so you looking nice, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you locked in, sir.
Thank you, sir.
People man's sock game right now. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So what you
Cater.
wow.
We do everything. We travel. We do all.
I hate that you ain't gonna be back by the time we get back.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah. So that's my son-in-law.
Do you still need more seats in the bus?
No, we good. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
We can have as many as you want. I have a small storage in the back. You can have as many as you want.
Okay, I'm gonna go blow a pop and a piece of gum so I could be ready. Oh, you want one too? Oh, excuse me. Lord, thank you so much. One for the cameraman. I got your oils, just in case. Travel with it.
Hey, I
Always.
appreciate that.
Yes,
Yeah.
very much mobile.
Mobile oil.
Mobile oil. That's it, right there.
I want to say altogether they start at like either 7:30 or yeah, I think like 7:30, and then they break off into the smaller loops at from 8:30 I think to 10:30, and then they got the final closing session at like 10:30 until like lunchtime. Wow, you got here quickly.
Come back in the evening.
Wow.
Been a frown, so if you can witness that it's all for business, and Jesus is when we telling you now. Do you know the Lamb of God died for you and I? 3 days later, he rose with all power, made sacrifice. My regulator, the ruler, creator, big dog, he is the Christ. The sending out blessings, it's only right, come and meet the guy. Who are right? Come take a chance on the king. Brand your burdens, your pain, and shame. It's never too late, just come see. It's not too hard for the man to stand. He got the plan, it's never a doubt. It's like Charles has said, turn it over to the Lord and he'll work it out. Do you know the man in the room? Yeah. We gon' scream his name to the roof. Yeah. You don't know the man in the room. Yeah. You can meet the man in the room. Do you know the man in the room? Yeah. Do you know the man in the room? You can meet the man in the room. Yeah. You can meet the man in the room. Do you know the man in the room? Yeah. Do you know the man in the room? You can meet the man in the room. You can meet the man in the room.
just be hanging, huh? Got the whole class in you did.
Good morning to you.
Nice to see you.
Nice to meet you, Lauren.
Dr. Brett, you doing good, sir?
I am, you?
Good. You got some good rest last night? Good, good. Dr. Brett, this is the wife, and you know.
Hello, good to meet you.
Yeah.
Morning. How are you, Lisa?
Lisa?
Nice to meet you.
We have one church in Virginia, in Portsmouth, and then the other church is in North Carolina. It's about an hour and a half away. Yeah. So we do one at 7:45, and then we get to the other one around. Supposed to get there around 10:30. Yeah.
That's why this trip was about race.
We're doing a theology and church panel here at the conference that I suggested we call the Alphabet Soup Conference, since it's the National Association of Baptist Professors of Religion, Baptist History and Heritage Society, and Association of Ministry Guidance Professionals all meet together, but no one wanted to go for that. Gabriella Harris was going to join us, but she was unable to travel down. So our three papers today are going to be by Lawrence Claiborne, James Jones, and David Hoxter. You got to get in here close.
That's crazy.
No.
It was an optical illusion. I
Yeah.
thought it was like a little blue wall.
No back row Baptisting here. Front row
I'm not
Baptisting.
happy.
I hope to join your ranks at some point, teaching as well. J. David Hacker, a demographic historian, concluded that between 1619 and 1865, approximately 10 million enslaved Africans were forced to live in the United States. The total of their lives is equivalent to 179 million person years. It is a mind-blowing statistic when considering that ancestors were forced to contribute 410 billion hours of free labor. Thus, I seek to argue that Black resilience and resistance have always been and will need to continue to be. It reminds us that resiliency to withstand prolonged suffering does not negate Black resistance's emphasis on pointing out original sin perpetuated by white supremacy. Two things can be very true at the same time, or as my grandma used to say, we can walk and chew gum at the same time. One can agree with Toni Morrison when she says that the history of the place of Black people in this country is so varied, complex, beautiful, and impactful. Black resilience, however, is not monolithic. Yet when one distills and attempts to define Black resistance in broad strokes, beyond the subtle nuances, it is clear. Black resistance simply means we are here and we matter. In other words, it says, here's what's wrong, here's why it's wrong, and here's how it needs to be corrected moving forward. Black resistance is rooted in both argument and action. This is why in his work, The Souls of Black Folks, W.B. Du Bois highlights the concept of double consciousness. This concept suggests that Black people or African Americans are African with little to no memory of their homeland, and Americans with little to no rights and privileges that ought to give them an equitable chance. Thus, the Black church emerges as a distinctive bridge between the existential and eschatological realities of everyday life. Dr. Wayne E. Croft Sr., in his work entitled A History of the Black Baptist Church, I Don't Feel No Ways Tired, succinctly connects the Baptist denominational distinctives to the religious and spiritual practices of enslaved Africans. He states, enslaved Africans live out Baptist principles in the invisible institution long before the Baptist denomination was officially established in the United States. It was in hush harbors, ravines, and secret meeting places that enslaved Africans practiced their own form of local church autonomy, white churches. Consequently, the need to distinguish between Baptist bodies that affirmed the equality of Black people became more pressing. Black Baptist churches in the United States are believed to have their inception around 1750. Their human captivity and subsequent dehumanizing enslavement intertwined with their cultural, sacred practices and beliefs in a particular faith tradition and denomination resonated with them. Amid the destructive realities of racism, Black Baptist churches and preachers found ways to meet the emerging needs of their congregants. It is a wonder to suggest that this institution is still in existence amid all the challenges, difficulties, hardships, and perpetual seasons of suffering endured. Because no one can be at peace unless he has freedom. It is Fannie Lou Hamer's famous quote, "I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired." It is the work of the countless people who work to dismantle the war on drugs and the welfare queen narratives in the 80s. It is the work of the Black Lives Matter movement, founded by Taranda Burke, that was founded in 2013 in response to the acquittal of Trayvon Martin's murderer. It is also the many others whose history has been accounted for, but we have not yet recovered.
Thank you for this opportunity. To my colleagues that have already presented, to Dr. Brett, along with our United Lutheran Seminary family, to my family that is gathered with us on today, and to each of you, good morning again. The title of my piece is A Theology of Wholeness Toward a Requiem for Du Bois's Double Consciousness. And through engagement with Du Bois, along with Howard Thurman, along with Dr. James H. Cone, Pauline's reconciliation theology, and the doctrine of the Imago Dei, this paper constructs what is termed a theology of wholeness. This project further argues that double consciousness is evidence of a democracy unable to fully recognize Black humanity without distortion. The paper examines how our otherness becomes internalized through racialized democratic structures, and how Black existence is forced into the condition Du Bois describes as two-ness. Yet this paper also contends that Black theological tradition offers spiritual and communal resources capable of resisting fragmentation. Through Thurman's eyes, the notion of the inward center, through Cone's liberation anthropology, and biblical visions of reconciliation and a beloved community, it becomes a theology of wholeness, which emerges as both spiritual resistance and democratic reconstruction. It is precisely within this contradiction that W.E.B. Du Bois writes The Souls of Black Folk in 1903. Du Bois does not merely diagnose racism as prejudice or discrimination. He identifies something deeper and more insidious: the production of fractured identity through distorted recognition. This is the issue. And this issue is not only that Black people are excluded from democracy, but that democracy itself produces forms of internal division within those it marginalizes. Black existence becomes shaped by a constant negotiation between self-understanding and the hostile gaze of surrounding society. This is why Du Bois' famous question remains hauntingly relevant even today. How does it feel to be a problem? This paper argues that double consciousness is not merely a psychological condition, but is evidence of a theological and a democratic crisis. The problem is not Black identity itself, but a democracy incapable of recognizing Black humanity without distortion. The paper further argues that a theology of wholeness offers a constructive response to this crisis. Drawing upon Du Bois, Howard Thurman, and James H. Cone, biblical theology, Black theological traditions, this paper proposes that wholeness emerges through sacred affirmation. Wholeness emerges through spiritual resistance. Wholeness emerges through communal healing. And finally, wholeness emerges through democratic reconstruction. The argument proceeds in 6 movements: the construction of otherness within American democracy, double consciousness as imposed fragmentation, Number 3, the theological significance of the Imago Dei. Number 4, Howard Thurman and the recovery of the inward center. Number 5, liberation theology and a reconciled humanity. And then finally, a theology of wholeness as a democratic and spiritual reconstruction. Ultimately, the paper proposes that a requiem for double consciousness would not mean the death of blackness, but the death of imposed fragmentation itself. Between me and the other world, there is ever an unasked question. The significance of this statement lies in the phrase, the other world. Black existence is positioned outside the normative democratic imagination as different in ways that imply inferiority, suspicion, and exclusion. Otherness occurs when one group is established as normative while another is treated as a deviation. Within American democracy, whiteness often functioned as the normative center of citizenship. Blackness, therefore, became constructed as an internal outsider. The contradiction was profound. Black labor built America, while black humanity remained denied by America. The issue, therefore, is not accidental inconsistency, but structural contradiction. Du Bois exposes how democracy itself can become fragmented when recognition is distorted unequally. This condition produces what philosopher Charles Taylor calls misrecognition, the process by which oppressed communities internalize deeming societal images. Du Bois anticipated this insight decades earlier. The tragedy of otherness is not simply exclusion from public institutions. It is the creation of a fractured interiority. He writes, "It is a peculiar sensation, this double consciousness, this sense of always looking at oneself through the eyes of others." This statement reveals that double consciousness is fundamentally relational. Identity becomes mediated through an external gaze. The black subject is forced to encounter the self, not directly, but through the distorted perception of a society shaped by racial hierarchy. This produces what Du Bois calls two-ness. Two-ness is not natural. It is imposed. This creates perpetual negotiation. How does one remain authentically black within structures that devalue blackness? How does one participate in democracy while democracy questions one's belonging? How does one maintain dignity under systems of humiliation? The result is fragmentation. Double consciousness forces the oppressed into self-surveillance. Double consciousness also produces insight. Those positioned at the margins often see democracy more clearly than those comfortably located at its center. The outsider perceives contradictions hidden from the insider. Du Bois thus transforms marginality into prophetic vision. the fractured subject becomes capable of exposing fractured democracy. In conclusion, I want to argue that if we're going to move to a level of double consciousness, Du Bois helps us. That if democracy requires some people to live divided so that others may feel secure, then democracy itself remains spiritually immature. Double consciousness reveals not black deficiency, but democratic failure. The tragedy is not black identity. The tragedy is a society unable to recognize black humanity without distortion. A theology of wholeness insists that sacred work cannot be determined by racial hierarchy. Human dignity originates in God. Thus, black life does not need America's affirmation in order to possess value. Yet democracy must learn to recognize what God has already declared sacred. If democracy learned to recognize without distortion, blackness would no longer function as a contradiction. Thank you very much.
The need for a shift in his, her, or their own basic consciousness, and that of the consciousness of the community to which they are connected. Not exactly sure when it happened for me, but at some point I realized that I've lived all my life in the land of the Lenape. The indigenous people who were removed from what is now my own neighborhood and points north, south, east, and west of said neighborhood. 5 minutes from my house sits the Stinson House in the Germantown section of Philadelphia, and it was there where the handshake that finalized the Walking Purchase land grab of 1737 occurred. All my life I've been walking past this place, going to school, grocery store, friend's house. It is this place where this duplicitous land agreement / negotiation between the plotting colonizers and the Lenape took place. Similar stories of broken treaties, lies, and betrayal on the part of European settlers are a part of every native nation's story. They discovered that they had very different ways of thinking about basic elements of existence. Their different ways of being made it very difficult to make and honor treaties that will hold up over the long term. Indigenous peoples never seemed to give up hope that the two groups would ever be able to reconcile, while their European newcomers continued to find new ways to cement their domination. Disharmony. By 1737, the year of the Walking Purchase land grab, 118 years had already passed since the first Africans were brought to a port in Jamestown, Virginia, an event that marked the beginning of the system of chattel slavery in colonial America. These two patterns of thought are incompatible. Perhaps the Haudenosaunee are so in tune with their history and their God that they are unable to compromise their beliefs, as it would be a sign of a lack of faith. If something has been working for 70,000 years, why lose faith now? Maybe they're playing the long game, believing that God honors the faithful and ultimately what they've lost will be restored. Perhaps they are the only ones that contain a wisdom, a true wisdom, that will actually last throughout the ages and not become a passing fancy. Maybe the essence of the Haudenosaunee's relationship to the North American power structure is as Notes describes. Notes says it is the perspective of the oldest elder looking into the affairs of a young child and seeing that he is committing incredibly destructive folly. And they are speaking in this instance to a world that dates back its existence to a little over 500 years ago. And perhaps, in many cases, much more recently than that. The type of ruthless attacks on Native American culture run parallel to those of the Africans who were brought on slave ships beginning in 1619. This past October, I attended a powwow in Philadelphia called the Tribal Unity Powwow. Several tribes in the area, they get together and do their powwow thing. It was amazing. We have a responsibility to honor those who have come before us, those who have suffered, bled, and died, those who have entrusted to us the legacy of education, particularly theological education, and to pass that on responsibly to those whom we have been called to serve. We have not been called to seek mass appeal. We have not been called to sell our soul for a record deal that shows up in the form of tenure professorships or whatever other form one chases after like an idol. Maybe a soul you'd sell to have mass appeal. I say no. Let us all challenge ourselves to never abandon the pursuits to which we have been called and continue to take up the mantle of the wisdom and in the spirit of the wisdom of the elders to avoid becoming like our oppressors, spiritually dead. Thank you.
Over the first one, I loved your definition of resistance. We are here and we matter. That's simple, it's succinct, it just punches, it's right to the point. I'm wondering, did you have or do you have a definition of resilience? You talked about resistance and resilience. I'm wondering, just how would you talk about resilience?
So, in the beginning of the paper, I talked about walking and chewing gum at the same time. That resistance is we're here, we matter, is saying we want to see structures and systems change, so we resist them. But resiliency says we don't give up in the process of waiting for these structures and systems to change. So resilience means you stick with it, even when systems want you to quit, want you to fail, want you to give up.
We don't give up and we flourish.
Yes.
Is what I'm hearing in your paper.
So yes, that's where I mentioned resiliency comes from the internal and eternal value we have as Black people. So it's the right internal perspective, the right internal language, because you have to combat the external language. But then also affirming that with God's word. So kind of what James talked about with the image of God, living that truth, even when the world is like, you're not the preference.
So I guess my question to all three of you is, what steps does the Black church need to make to be more actionable once again? To, not just have the inner resilience, but like active resistance, like material resistance.
I look at it from the lens that I do believe the church has to play a part in it. One of the papers that I'm working on now goes back to a book that Howard Thurman wrote entitled Jesus and the Disinherited. And he raises this incredible question about the impotence of the church to deal with racism and to deal with all of the structural things that they were dealing with during the time of the civil rights. And that question for me is still relevant in 2026. That we have to embrace what it means to look at sacred memory. And some of those things that you talked about the church being prophetic during those times, and how we've gotten away from being prophetic and being more about prosperity, we need to kind of return and revisit that. In order for the community or the church to be transformed, it's got to start with some of us.
I start by saying this, prophetic work is risky business.
It is.
Look in the Bible, look in history. Anybody who stands up to oppressive powers ends up finding themselves risking their own lives.
Yeah.
And so I think when you talk about the heyday of the Black church, which I think I understand what you're trying to say with Dr. King and him kind of being both pastor and public theologian, I think the public theologian has been lost in some of the pastoral identity. Here of people is more inclined to the self-help preaching. How do I, in 6 steps, improve, and less about the communal well-being. And so I think there needs to be a shift in our perspective. So as a person who is both pastor and public theologian, I don't see them as two dichotomies. I see them as a solid thing.
Every day that you wake up, you can't look at these without, or look at the TV or something without hearing that tension, and it's being fed to us more and more and more. Like someone like me, and realizing that it's not that far removed from us, the civil rights movements and all the things. My mother was arrested in college because she did a sit-in and was stepped on, by a white man. But her professor bailed about 20 of them out of jail, and so there is a movement that needs to be revisited. My mother's she'll be 83 next month. So it's not that far removed, but we're being taught or told that we should forget it. And you cannot, my third great grandfather was a white man, and so I have all of those things. I'm black, I have Native American, I have white, so it's not that far removed.
What I hear a call for is the continued cultivation within Black Baptist churches of resistance and resilience as spiritual disciplines for wholeness and a way to preserve a cohesive culture in order to challenge and undermine domination frameworks. And these 3 papers, I think, provide us phenomenal examples of what Long and Giroux call root cause analysis, what we see also with what Angela Davis is doing. And for the 3 of you, Baptist History and Heritage Society is looking for papers on microhistories, I believe, is what Dr. Weaver was telling me downstairs, of Black churches. And so providing specific examples from your church context, I think would be a really great way to kind of revise these papers, if you felt so inclined to add that historical piece to ground them and connect them to your church context or to the broader areas that you serve in. So thank you all for your papers, and all of you for a wonderful conversation. Introduce yourself.
I'm really looking at how to weave it in, and so that
I'm Ben. Good to meet you, Ben. You too.
I love it. And I think I could appreciate the question because I had heard you yesterday. So I knew how you mixed Islam and Christianity, so I knew where you would come from.
So I just say who I've been really into recently is Mos Def. I've definitely been exploring a lot of Mos Def. Well, I guess y'all said Bay now, but exploring his catalog, and I'm really, I missed that. I was born in 2002, so I missed that backpack rap era. So going back to the more conscious rap has been really good to listen to.
I love the Mos Def piece. Man. We used to rock Nas.
I like Nas. I'm still trying to get into Nas.
And she's just shooting down.
What about Kendrick Lamar?
I like Kendrick. I love Kendrick.
On the front step of First Baptist DC. And that's
But he told him 11.
I told him 11.
That's why when he said 11, I was like,
Hey man, shout out to the bishop, man. He came out here all the way from VA and snap. You know what I'm saying? And snap.
Hey, that's Bucky. He do all our
All the
social
social media, man. I wouldn't have nothing to record if it weren't greatness.
Hey.
That's all I'm saying. Just like AI said, greatness.
Recognize
is greatness. I need to be paying attention. I ain't paying attention.
just don't worry about it. I was like, no, I'm working, because how do you not have any kind of job? You have nothing. But yeah, it's semester.
Congratulations. What time?
Hi. Long time no see.
Yeah. Yeah. You sure? Okay. Yeah, good morning.
Good, thanks so much. How are you?
Good.
Goodness. can't even imagine.
Did you go to Stone Mountain Park?
No, I just happened to see it just now.
That's okay. We don't need any of that.
All good. Thank you so much. Jesus Christ. I'm so glad I didn't hit your toe.
We did leave the whites in the hospital.
On my way to the airport, you already know what time it is. Stay tuned, my boy.
Good morning. No, sir. We ain't back a lot.
On purpose.
Yeah.
Alright, cool, y'all. We out.
Yeah, we was out. We came and we coming.
Darrell Banks.
Done so many great and wondrous things. All the joy you bring to me is heavenly. I can't compare. No, it's not fair. The love
First thing in this morning.
First thing in the morning.
That's why they be cranky, y'all.
It is why. That's all I said. I know, you know.
He bobbing and weaving.
First thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's
I think this is where we started, and the man told us we had to go to the other side.
It looked like that would have been the best for getting that. Hey, my friend.
Have a great day, everyone. Have a safe flight.
Yes, sir. You too. Hope to see you again, my friend. Yes, sir. We'll do. We will. I'll text you.
Now we take time to bless your holy name. Thank you, Lord, cause you've been good. So good, so good. Me, to me, yeah. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. In him I can find sweet relief. Jesus, you're the King. You are my all in all. He is the sun and shield. Can bestow favor upon you. Let the praises ring. He's been kind to me despite my many faults. I know in my life I made mistakes, but I know that he's been good. He's been so good, yeah. And I wouldn't be here.
All right, reporting all roads, all zones. Once again, on standby to have been clear all roads, all zones. So welcome aboard.
Okay, you're all set. You're welcome. All right, Jerry, you're all set.
Yeah. It's ACM. I just wanna vibe one time. Can I just vibe one time? Say, can I just vibe one time? With God, I'm great no matter what I face, let's celebrate. Some people hate, they try to infiltrate what we create. We're working at a certain pace to see the Father's face. We give him praise, we give him praise. Gave my problems to God, no more regards, no time for stressing. He came to usher the spirit in, cause my confessions. Trials is hard, you get through those, he sends the blessings. Need it more clearer, this trust in God, there goes my message. Don't get me wrong, there's gonna be times when you get tested heavy. But the change is finna come, like Virtue said, get ready. And when it all falls down, I know who you can call. He'll be there to love and care for your flaws and all. See, I've been there, I'm a witness, he never leaves your side. He send you clues in a word that gives some type of guide. The roads that has detours, but he'll be there to ride. Soon as you make it out, you can say it was only God. You were created to make his name glorious, and tell others who don't know how he's victorious, No Steph, no Clay, no Draymond, but we'll war.
On behalf of this Atlanta-based crew, it certainly has been our pleasure having each and every one of you on board. We do look forward to the opportunity of serving you on this and many Delta flights in the future. Again, thank you and have a wonderful day.
Your next. See, everybody has those days when you feel stressed. And you've been running for a while, you just need a breath. Take a breath. Just remember his promise and do your very best. God is only preparing you for your next. What's a testimony without a test? And if you sing your test.
I'm sitting a snack or two. You think I should get a lemonade and go to chicken? I might go with a lemonade.
Just need a breath. Just remember his promise and do your very best. God is only preparing you for your next life.
Sucks to be y'all in there. I don't get to say it a lot, but we in the city though. Feel me? I do not get to say it a lot. We in the city though. City. The city though. Welcome to the city though. I don't get to talk about Norfolk like for real, because everybody always put Norfolk as a bad city. City that made me, city that raised me. You know what I'm saying? Real talk, B. Feel me? I went to Tennis Creek. You know what I'm saying? Then after that, I went to Ruffner with it. And then I went to the T. Straight up, all Norfolk, baby. And then I went to Norfolk State University. I never left the city, man.
You did.
Somebody asked you.
I'm just saying, come on.
I went to Great Bridge for a couple of years, but after that, I went to Norfolk. Straight up. Went to Norfolk. Then I got that. Then I got that. You know what I'm saying? And I left for GOAT. What city? Norfolk. I know we in C. I remember that for sure.
What was it that I think?
Nah, we driving.
We had to go over there. That's like the waiting lot.
Oh, it used to be.
Gone.
Was it Jamal? I think it was Jamal. And that's got to be an interesting job.
You look really enthusiastic right now.
Of seeing different people.
You look like the most happiest person
standing in one particular spot.
Look at your smile.
With one job.
You got one time.
That's it.
Right here. Yes, sir. 6209 Ball Avenue on my mama. Yes, sir. Right down there. That's where Mama had the Pontiac. And we back.
I just told Dominique to send me a list.
We made it back to the crib.
Hey, we made it back.
You know.
Hey, yeah, cut your computer on.
You already know what time it is.
About an hour and a half.
Gone just like that.